What's up, beautiful people? It's Sindærfam. Welcome to the channel. Today we have this interesting video from Sowell, and it's titled "This is Why the Left Wants to Destroy Marriage." Interesting. I'm excited to check this one out. Let's check it out.
The latest in a long line of New York Times editorials disguised as news stories was a recent article suggesting that most American women today do not have husbands. Partly this was based on census data, but much more so on creative definitions. The Times defined women to include females as young as 16 and counted widows, who of course could not be widows unless they had once had a husband. Wives whose husbands were away in the military or in prison were also counted among women not living with a husband. With such creative definitions, it turned out that 51% of women were not living with a husband. That made it most women and created a news story suggesting that these women were not married. In reality, only 1/4 of women have never married, even when you count girls as young as 16. While the data quoted in the New York Times story were about women who were not living with a husband, there were quotes in the story about women who rejected marriage. What was the point? To show that marriage is a thing of the past. As a headline in the San Francisco Chronicle put it, "Women see less need for old ball and chain." In other words,
it's interesting because even now, the way at which people don't even care or give a flying look at marriage anymore is crazy. Marriage is actually declining. Marriage has actually lost the sense of meaning in the society, because now it looks like the society is promoting more divorce and leaning towards the point where people don't even see the essence of getting married, or people don't see the need of getting married, where they can get all of the duties and all of those things without putting in the time, putting in the work, or getting married, or having a husband, or the likes, because they can do everything they want to do without having the title or bearing the title that they are married to somebody. Because modern day feminists have sold the agenda and sold the lie that you are strong, independent woman, and as Mrs. Strong, independent woman, you don't need a man, because of course you can do everything that the man can do. They are now measuring up with a man, equality and all of that. So therefore, there is no need to have a man in your life when you can do everything all by yourself and you are independent. And independence means just by yourself, or you are dependent on yourself. Therefore, you don't need nobody's help. You don't need anybody to help you. You don't need a man in your life. You don't need a partner. You can do it by yourself. It's just crazy. And it's sad that and sick that modern women are actually buying into the modern feminist agenda, which don't make sense, and is also a contributing factor to marriage declining. But yeah, let's continue.
in other words, marriage is like a prison sentence, complete with the old-fashioned leg irons with a chain connected to a heavy metal ball so that the prisoner cannot escape. This picture of marriage and a family as a burden is not peculiar to the New York Times or the San Francisco Chronicle. It is common among the intelligentsia of the left. Negative depictions of marriage and family are common not only in our newspapers, but also wherever the left is concentrated, whether in our schools and colleges, or on television, or in the movies. Most famously in the Murphy Brown TV program that Vice President Dan Quayle criticized, provoking a fierce counterattack from the left. The New York Times was not the first outlet of the left to play fast and loose with statistics in order to depict marriage as a relic of the past. Innumerable sources have quoted a statistic that half of all marriages end in divorce, another conclusion based on creative manipulation of words rather than on hard facts. The fact that there may be half as many divorces in a given year as there are marriages in that year does not mean that half of all marriages end in divorce. It is completely misleading to compare all the divorces in one year, from marriages begun years and even decades earlier, with the number of marriages begun in that one year.
And that is the problem, because you hear people say, why get married when you would divorce later? Rather than getting married, you're better off staying not married because you saw or you had a friend who got married, they had all of the butterflies, they were in love and all of that, and somewhere down the road they fell out and they got divorced and all of that, and then people conclude that all marriages would end in divorce, so therefore there is no need to put in the work, or there is no need to devote time to get married. And yeah, I've heard the paraphrase where people say marriage is a prison and all of that, and that is also a lie sold by modern day feminists, because they always believe that something is going to be holding them back from pursuing their career or whatever and the like, so they don't need that prison sentence or prison hell because it's going to be holding them back from achieving something or being the future boss chick, boss lady that they want to be. It just don't make sense. And yes, the society now is doing a lot more harm than good, because people are also seeing that there is a lot more divorce. The rise and influx of divorce is making people scared of getting married, when in real sense, most of those things are individual choices. Divorce is an individual choice, and it does not mean that all marriages would end in divorce. I mean, there are tons of people who have been married forever and for a really long time, and yeah, some people thought of separating, but somewhere down the road or somewhere along the line they fixed it and all of that. Doesn't mean that because person A had a failed marriage, therefore person B would also have a failed marriage, or you would also have a failed marriage. Those people, their marriage didn't work. I always say this, and I'm gonna say it: people's marriages are not the same. Marriage is not a one size fits all, and marriage is for adults and people who are willing to put in the work. Just because someone else's marriage failed doesn't mean that your marriage would also fail. Is crazy how people measure someone else's marriage with their own, or someone else's relationship with their own, or someone else's life with their own, when in real sense people are responsible for their life choices and whatever happens to them. But yeah, let's continue to hear what Thomas Sowell got to say.
Year. Why these desperate twistings of words and numbers by the left in order to discredit marriage? Partly, it is because marriage is a fundamental component of a social order that the left opposes. Moreover, marriage is seen as one of the social restrictions on individual free choice. These are not new ideas, even though they may be more pervasive than in the past, simply because the intelligentsia is larger and more vocal today. As far back as the 18th century, Rousseau said that man is born free, but is everywhere in chains. In other words, the social restrictions essential to a civilized society were seen as unnecessary hindrances to each individual's freedom. It never seems to occur to those who think this way that if everyone were free of all social restrictions, only the strongest and most ruthless would in fact be free, and all the others would be subject to their dictates or destruction. Marriage and family are also barriers to the left's desire to create a society built to their own specifications. Friedrich Engels' first draft of the Communist Manifesto proclaimed the end of families, but Karl Marx thought better of it and took that out. In one way or another, however, the left has for more than 2 centuries tried to undermine families, including today redefining the words marriage and family to include whatever kind of people want to live together in whatever way, for whatever reason. If marriage can mean anything, then it means nothing. The New York Times' long-standing motto, "All the news that's fit to print," should be changed to reflect today's reality. Manufacturing news to fit an ideology.
Interesting. And is their agenda to stop what the true meaning of marriage is? I mean, God created Adam and Eve for a specific reason, and God also, in the Bible, it is written, it is not good for a man to stay alone or to be alone, therefore he is going to send help. A woman is there to help the man, to support the man, not just to be by herself or to be alone, but to support the man. Hence the reason God created Adam and Eve, and Adam first and Eve from the rib of a man. That means the man's missing rib, a woman. So therefore, a man will leave his father's house and cling onto a woman, and she would become his wife. His wife. And that is it. It's that simple. It's in the Bible. And lots of people are trying to oppose what the true meaning of family, marriage is, and the essence to which it is, because they want to paint a certain narrative. They want to paint something that will fit the narrative that will benefit them. It's wrong. It's wrong. The idea where people are telling women, or modern day feminists are telling women, that you don't need a man, a strong independent woman don't need a man because you can do everything by yourself. Why have the help of a man when you can do what a man can do? You can do everything that a man does for you, when in real sense 2 heads are better than 1. Having a family, but people have actually come to the idea that there is no point having a family. You can stay all by yourself and be lonely and have your cat and dog and die alone. Why have family? Why have a husband when you can have a cat take care of you, or take care of a cat, or have a dog take care of a dog, and all of that? It just don't make sense. And it's sad and sick that many women are buying into the idea of not wanting family, of not wanting marriage, or not wanting to get married, because of course the left and modern day feminists want to put a stop and end to marriage and put a stop and end to family, because to them, because it did not work for them, therefore it should not work for other people. But also I also have to say this, that lots of people are just miserable and they are looking for people that they are going to recruit to add to their miserable WhatsApp group. So the minute you start buying into the idea that because somebody who is miserable is selling you something and telling you that marriage is not a good idea, marriage is prison, you don't need to have a family, you can just go out to own a dog or own a cat, what's the essence of having a family when you can live alone? They are also recruiting you and selling the idea of you being miserable with them, and you also will buy into the idea and join them to be miserable. Marriage is a beautiful thing. Ask tons of people who are married, they will tell you. And just because someone else's marriage failed doesn't mean your marriage also would fail. But all the same, this was interesting and to learn and to hear from Thomas Sowell. Well, I've learned a lot from Thomas Sowell, and I urge lots of people to also learn from Thomas Sowell, because there is lots more to learn from him. But I'm sure tons of people have got a different opinion regarding this, and I would really love your honest contribution to this. You can share other useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.